Howdy folks, I thought it'd be fun to drink a little Demerara rum today. For a long time, as you might know, I haven't been able to get El Dorado here in Oregon, but I finally caved in and bought some from Astor Wines. Love Astor Wines. We can get Lemon Hart though, so I have an 80 proof Lemon Hart, and I also just picked up a bottle of the Hamilton 86 Demerara rum. Well, let's check them out. Alright, so before we get into the rum, I just thought I would refresh our memories about Demerara rum and where it comes from, etc. Demerara is the name of a river in Guyana. Guyana is a country on the northeast side of South America, which is considered to be part of the Caribbean. Long ago it was a Dutch colony, and then it got transferred to the English. And while it was under British rule, it was called British Guiana. It got its independence from Britain in somewhere in the 60s, and since then it's known as Guyana. Now, over that whole history, they grew a lot of sugarcane. At one point, they had 40 plus distilleries, usually small operations associated with a sugarcane farm. Now, over the years, sugarcane production fell, and those distilleries sort of got consolidated down into one distillery called the Diamond Distillery. Now, when they consolidated these distilleries, they would actually move the stills to the Diamond Distillery. So now the Diamond Distillery has this sort of mishmash of different styles of still, two of which are actually wooden vat stills, where the sides of the boiling chamber are actually made of wood, and they have a wooden coffee still, which is, a column still, but not round, square, made out of square wooden planks. Wild. Now that sounds made up, but it's true. I read it in the big book. Two wooden vat stills are called the Port Morant still and the Versailles still. You might hear about that if you're a rum nerd. Now the Diamond Distillery has these kind of weird old stills, but they also have some modern column stills. They have a modern blending facility and a modern bottling line. Anyway, the history of Guyana, all very interesting, but what it boils down to is all the rum that comes from Demerara region, that's labeled Demerara rum, comes from the Diamond Distillery. It might be aged at their facilities, or it might be aged elsewhere. It might be bottled there, or it might be bottled elsewhere, but it all comes from the same distillery. Now you might be wondering what stills the different rums come from, and we don't really know. The blenders will blend distillate from the different stills to make their blends. Now let's start with Lemon Hart 1804. This is an old brand. It started in 1804. They were the first company to start selling rum to the British Navy. You might be familiar with Lemon Hart 151, which is an overproof Demerara rum that makes its way into a lot of tiki cocktails. If you're into tiki, you gotta have Lemon Hart 151. But these days, Hamilton also makes a 151, so you could use that instead. Now let's try this Lemon Hart. I've been calling it Lemon Hart. The bottle actually says Hart and Son, but it'll always be Lemon Hart to me. I've been using it a lot actually to goose up old fashions and to make daiquiris and stuff. It's been coming in handy. Now the thing about Demerara rum is it's very dark. It's very sort of rich. It's got a lot of like raisin, dark fruits, it's leathery. You can taste the raw sugar. A lot of these are going to have similar notes. We're going to try and tease out some differences here. Yeah, a lot of brown sugar. A lot of leathery, chocolatey notes, figs, raisins. For 80 proof, it's a little hot, kind of molasses, dark fruit. It's not funky really, but it's got this leathery richness to it. Although it's got sort of a bit of a short finish, sort of a hot short finish, a little bit watery maybe at the end. Really not bad. A pretty good mixer. Yeah, not bad. So as I said at the beginning, I can't get El Dorado here. Normally I went to Astor Wines and I bought this bottle because I was sentimental about it. This used to be one of my go-to mixing rums, make a Mai Tai with it, makes a great daiquiri. Now, they used to put a lot of sugar into the El Dorado. They got some pushback, some flack from the rum community, and they have since cut way back on the amount of sugar they put in the El Dorado 15 and the El Dorado 12. The El Dorado 12 now has a little bit of sugar added apparently, but not much at all. For the record, I don't really care if they put sugar in it. It would be neat if they labeled it, or that there was some way to find out how much sugar they're putting in it, because, you know, just for truth in labeling. So El Dorado is produced by the Diamond Distillery themselves. It's their sort of house brand. They also have a brand of rum called Diamond Rum, where they make a much wider range of rums, you know, white rums, some flavored rums, I think. I can't get that here, so I'm not going to talk about it. So let's try El Dorado 12. Lots of that leather, kind of cinnamon. Lots of baking spice, allspice, clove. And you get a lot of a little bit of like a molasses smell to it as well. This goes down a lot easier than the Lemon Hart. It's got a lingering caramel, molasses, brown sugar, lots of those baking spices I mentioned earlier. Figs and raisins. But the El Dorado 12 is just a lot more sort of luxurious, I think, than the Lemon Hart. Now, when I bought this El Dorado, it was $38. Of course, I had to pay shipping as well. But it tastes a lot nicer than, you know, $4 better than Lemon Hart. The Lemon Hart just feels not as nice to me. It's much younger, and the El Dorado is just much more sort of silky. It's the same proof, 80 proof, but it's just a lot nicer to sip. Ooh, delicious. So we're gonna move on to this bottle that I just got. It's a Hamilton 86 Demerara rum. It is 86 proof. It's made by a company called Hamilton, led by a guy named Edward Hamilton, who's a blender and a bottler. He buys rums from various places, blends them and bottles them, sells them to us. Now, the Hamilton 86 says on the label that there's no sugar added. It's bottled in the United States, so they're bringing it up in bulk from Guyana and bottling it in the US. It's 86 proof, obviously, but it only cost me $29. It's actually cheaper than the Lemon Hart and a lot cheaper than El Dorado, so, and more proof, so let's see how it is. It's got a little bit of like that sort of molasses brown sugar smell that you sort of associate with Demerara rum, but it's also very dark, you know, dark fruits, all the same sort of notes I've been getting from these other two rums. It's also got a nice, long, lingering finish, sort of a tobacco-y, like lots of those dark fruits, more fig, a little bit of like a banana almost. Like it's a little bit fruitier than the El Dorado. It's not quite as silky smooth as El Dorado, but it's, I'd say, a lot nicer than the Lemon Hart, and, you know, a few dollars cheaper. So I'm liking this Hamilton. Now, I've heard a lot of good things about Hamilton, and they say if you've got a tiki bar that this is like a must-have for your tiki bar, and I believe it. I also believe that there's no sugar in this. It doesn't taste sweet to me at all. I also believe there's a little bit of sugar in the El Dorado. It's just smoothing out a lot of those flavors, especially in the finish. All right, I just wanted to drink rum and think about rum today. The Lemon Hart, I was finding it pretty okay for cocktails, but then when I bought this Hamilton, which is actually cheaper, higher proof, and tastes better, I think I'm gonna just go ahead and say get Hamilton 86 if you can, and don't worry about Lemon Hart. El Dorado, a classic, delicious, pretty good sipper. You could just sip El Dorado. It makes an excellent old-fashioned, excellent daiquiri. There is a little bit of sugar in it. If that bothers you, you know, now you know. But doesn't bother me. I really like it. All right, hopefully that was fun and or informative. Let me know your thoughts on Demerara rum down in the comments. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.